Grab your favorite beverage. It's time for Porch Therapy with Edward Deano and Keith Villere. Well, it's time for Porch Therapy. You know, we call this a Porch Podcast, but it's actually Porch Therapy. And here we are again. Edward, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Keith. You know, we've gotten some calls from some of our listeners out there who suggested that we introduce ourselves again, and we did it on our first, maybe our second podcast. So I want to introduce Keith. Keith's been an old dear friend of mine, and we figured out probably for over 60 years. And Keith's been very active in the community. He served as mayor of Covington and did a stellar job. I mean, the city's still enjoying the benefits of his work. Very innovative, progressive, probably one of the best small town mayors in the South. So I'm very, very happy to be with him, and he brings a great perspective from the idea of local government to the idea of an independent businessman, et cetera. So we're lucky to have him taking the time to do this.
Well, that's really nice, Edward. I don't know that I can do such a glowing introduction.
It'd be a lot harder.
But I've known Edward for as long as he's known me. And was very impressed. Probably one of the reasons I ran for office was the fact that Edward was in the legislature and had done some incredible work with environmental things like the scenic streams in Louisiana, which is a landmark legislation that is still today protecting streams in St. Tammany Parish in particular. I also remember some of the things that he did with regard to not spraying herbicides and, Agent Orange on the side of the road. That, at the time there was all kinds of things that were happening to dairy cows and other things. And he eliminated those things at a state level. I'm sure there's more because I was young back then. But he has a great feel for politics and has helped me throughout my elections when I was running for office. And has done a wonderful job in Mandeville helping community members that needed help. A lot of people that he helped with the law. And I don't know, I just really respect the work he's done, not only in the legislature, but as a lawyer in the city of Mandeville. Can we say where we live? Mandeville? Covington?
I think it's okay.
Okay. So anyway, I'm glad to be here because he brings a bit of fun, and we laugh a lot in these podcasts. So I think it makes it fun. I hope our listeners like it too.
And one thing, I don't want the podcast to end without me bringing this up and noting this. A lot of people are shocked at the move by our president to do away with the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Coincidentally happened the day the bad jobs numbers
they got
came
a bad
out.
report, and so he, tanks her.
Yeah, but you heard it first here on a Porch Therapy. Keith predicted this 2 months ago that this was going to happen, and I'll be darned if it didn't. It's one of those things that at the time seemed so outrageous and that just could never happen. I mean, it was. I'm sure we laughed about it when you said it.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that ADP had given them bad report, but then they end up having good job report for June, I think it was, and then of course they revised that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't have the revisions didn't
based
work
on
out well.
Actual numbers, and so. Anyway, if he doesn't like something, he fires him, and that's part of his whole shtick. He was head of The Apprentice, which I can say I never saw that show. But he was on The Apprentice, and it was like, you're fired. And so everybody loves that about Trump, that he can fire people. And firing this person, now are we going to be comfortable? They do a lot of information. They put out a lot of information. And the lady that did it, she doesn't see those numbers. All she did was basically wrote a text about it. The numbers are done by other things and other people. And
hundreds of people.
Yeah. And so, so we're going to see who he puts in that spot. And I'm sure it'll be somebody from Fox News.
Well, yeah, probably. But the thing is, Keith, when you said that at the time, that seemed so unrealistic.
Yeah, right.
It seemed like, this will never happen. But that's been kind of the theme of this whole administration, is doing things that people thought would never, ever happen. I mean, picking people up off the street and shipping them out of the country. I mean, who ever thought, without a hearing or without anything?
Nobody could dream of the craziness that's happening right now.
Sending the National Guard to California.
And the Marines.
Looking for protesters. I found 3 or 4 one night. But
they sent them to MacArthur Park, and there were children in the park. It's outrageous. And that's going to start happening all over, because ICE now, this is incredible. ICE, $50,000 signing bonus. And not only that, if you have a student loan, which I doubt many of them have, they're gonna forgive student loans. Now, they're not forgiving them for teachers or first responders or police officers or anybody in our community, but they're going to do it for ICE.
Nurses during the pandemic?
Nurses in the pandemic? No way.
No.
It's interesting. I actually was at a golf course today, a little local golf course. And the young woman who was checking us in, after she checked us in, she said, my Pell Grant, I went and registered for school like I did last semester. And last semester, I actually got money back from my registration. This semester, it cost me $2,000, my Pell Grant. And it's like, well, that's that big, beautiful bill. So it's starting to hit. And this young woman, I don't know if she votes. I don't know if she will vote, but she's starting to feel the effects of the big, beautiful bill.
Well, the Pell Grant, that's just the tip of the iceberg on the assault on education.
It is.
On higher education. Everybody knows what's going on with the universities that are doing research, and a lot of research dealing with health.
Yeah.
That stuff's being...
Cancer research, Alzheimer's research. People they just must be sleeping. These Republicans who are still supporting this guy, and there are many, and I don't know anybody that, that says, oh, he's doing a wonderful job.
Well, you're right, and it's amazing that there's this assault on science. There's an assault on the administration of universities. The president, who's supposed to be a small government kind of guy, and doesn't wants government to basically dictate hiring practices in universities, curriculum, that type of thing.
He wants to have people monitoring in universities for what the curriculums are, to make sure that they match with his ideology, which is incredibly scary.
Right, flexible. He's got a very flexible ideology. It'd be hard to keep up with his ideology.
I wonder if he's going to do that at Liberty University and Baylor and all those places.
Yeah, but that's, and he's withheld, I think, a lot of health grants in the Northeast to local governments, so that they can look and see at each individual grant if it meets the criterion of the values and the agenda of the president.
And the agenda of the president is Project 2025, which he didn't know anything about when he was running. And it's just, I'm looking at the poll numbers, and he's going down in the polls.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the 30s, the high 30s now. He might be in the low 40s in some of the polls.
Yeah.
But that's everybody. That's not, Republicans. He's still in the 80 percentile.
Right.
Republicans are still
They're
excited about pulling people off the street by these ICE thugs. And if I say ICE thugs, they may start investigating me.
They probably already have.
Oh.
The idea of having these Republicans, conservatives supposedly, are excited about a president that's doing tariffs. I mean, that is so against traditional conservative values.
I saw a long speech by Ronald Reagan, who couldn't get elected today, but about tariffs and how bad tariffs are. Maybe there's some short-term benefits, but I do think that the whole concept of the tariffs is that it's going to generate money in the...
It's a tax.
It's a tax. But the fact that it's generating money from everybody in the United States, it's not generating money from rich people because we know we gave them a tax break. But, if they go to Walmart, then they'll pay this tax.
Well, it's basically a sales tax.
Yeah.
Which is, the most regressive tax.
Yeah.
You can of the three major types of taxes that there are. And of course, for the most part, I think the more wealthy you are, the more your money spent on services and not goods. So you're not paying
Or you're buying yachts, and when you buy these $1 million yachts, they have all these tax breaks for the yachts.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, they're not paying the same tax that Walmart's paying.
But in the context of what we were saying about things just that you can't imagine, you couldn't imagine being reality a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
In that context, the tariffs come into that, and particularly the tariff on Brazil.
Oh,
I mean, there isn't even a disguise that this is under emergency powers.
Right.
The president doesn't even try to dress it up, and he's blatantly violating the law.
Yeah,
and he's doing a tariff because he doesn't like the way his friends being treated in Brazil.
Their friend, he's incarcerated.
Yeah,
I mean, he's like house arrest while they're doing whatever.
And the more Trump involves himself with tariffs, the worse they're treating the former president. I bet he wishes about right now that Trump would just keep his mouth shut.
Well, the funniest thing about tariffs is the fact that he now has put, is it a 50-day for Putin?
I think he shortened it.
Oh, did he?
But maybe he lengthened it later.
Well, but it's 50. I heard 50 days, but then he's going to put a tariff on Putin. We don't trade with them. There's no tariff. But there are a lot of people out there who don't know that.
Yeah.
They're just not aware of it.
Uh-huh.
Because they don't really. There's a lot of people who are just not patched into the news. They should be listening to this podcast.
Like all those people in France.
Yeah.
Yeah, we welcome our French viewers in particular. We're very gratified for the immense popularity that we're enjoying in France right now.
Yep. Well, I don't know. This interesting thing that's happening in Texas right now, where the Democrats have left Texas and they're in Illinois, and Illinois' governor is a billionaire, so he's happy to put them up. But we'll see what happens if the FBI goes to arrest these Democrats, and whether or not the Illinois governor is going to use his state police to protect these people from unlawful.
Right, because they haven't committed a crime in Illinois.
Not to my exactly.
I mean, so if you have people coming to molest citizens who have not committed a crime, but like we said earlier, whoever thought you'd see the Marines going into L.A. to quell a riot, an imaginary riot?
Yeah.
I mean, This is just out of another unbelievable storybook.
Yeah, the Marines went to protect the building.
Yeah,
And there was no
problem.
There was no effort to try to take over the building.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a crazy world right now, and I think it's going to get crazier before it gets better. Let's take a little break.
All right.
This is a little public service announcement. You know, there's a lot of organizations out there that are being affected by this big, beautiful bill and the current administration. I think, and I would recommend, that if you want to donate something, donate to places like Planned Parenthood. Donate in your favorite friend Republican's name. Planned Parenthood, ACLU, do it today. Okay, we're back.
Yeah, Keith, I wanted to mention to you in the context of things becoming normal that would have never been considered normal, that are in many ways horrendous, things that we just could not expect being normal, is the fact that we've had, counting today, the shooting today on the military base, where 4 soldiers were shot by another soldier.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. We've had 262 mass shootings in the United States as of today this year.
My goodness.
And I think that there's a direct relationship between cutting funding for mental health and mass shootings. And we all know that there's a relationship between loosening of gun regulations, and mass shootings.
Yeah, they've always said it's not the gun, it's the person behind the gun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also the person that, anybody who does a mass shooting is mentally ill. There's no doubt about it. But when you at the same time are cutting funding for mental health, and at the same time saying mental health is the reason we're having mass shootings, I don't know how you get out of that.
I don't know how you can't connect those dots.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot of dots. It's hard to talk about, not connecting dots without talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my goodness! What is new on that?
Well, of course, Ghislaine's they've changed some rules and spruced up a minimum security prison.
Yeah, she's at a country club prison.
Yeah,
I think they have golf.
Right.
I think there's somebody there who's a chef. That she has good food.
The day after the interview with Trump's personal lawyer. And there's people that just don't connect the dots.
I don't understand why they can't.
Well, I don't understand why some of the most conspiratorial people that believe that, the Jewish people started the forest fires in
I thought
California.
That was space lasers. Jewish space lasers.
Well, yeah, that the people and the ones that felt like the sex trafficking out of the pizza parlor in D.C. How they can't connect these dots. I mean, it's astounding.
It is astounding.
But anyway, the
mass shootings.
Yeah. There.
I didn't realize there was one today on a military base.
Yeah, it looks like they'll all survive. There were four soldiers that were shot. It looks like that they're going to all be okay. But that's becoming a normal, a toxic life experience amongst many others, like being dragged off the streets and shipped to another country. And where, people's rights are being taken away left and right.
There are other countries that have similar demographics and don't have these mass shootings. And the only difference is they have more stringent gun control. And, this whole Second Amendment, it's like, okay, you believe that you can have the Second Amendment. You can't have a nuclear bomb in your backyard. You can't have grenade launchers. There are limits to it. And it's unfortunate that the limits don't include these semi-automatic rifles. And now didn't they have the silencers? Isn't that part of the big?
Well, the silencers got the tax break.
The tax, yeah.
they got a tax break.
Yeah, let's get some more out there. The NRA. I mean, the NRA.
Use tax policy to encourage behavior. So, I mean, if you give a tax break to a silencer.
To get silencers. Yeah, it's just outrageous. And, it's some people, but I think the way Trump works is he connects all these individual single effort, single voting. It's like, okay,
single interest voters.
Yeah, and so like, I'm for the Second Amendment. It doesn't matter the fact that there's Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and the fact that Trump was, how many times was he in the 4,000.
Oh, right.
There were 4,000, more than 4,000 connections, transfers between Jeffrey Epstein's
bank account
and Trump, I think, wasn't it?
No, it was just
everybody.
Yeah, it was just transfers. But
that's a good place to start to investigate, by the way.
Hillary Clinton was subpoenaed by the House Congressional Committee to come testify.
Recently?
Yeah, yesterday. Because the reason was given was because her nephew worked in Biden's campaign.
Of course.
Now, I mean, that's a really kind of a stretching a connection. Mm-hmm. And it's a much more stretched connection than having your photograph taken with Jolene and wishing her well.
Yeah, right.
I mean, and they haven't subpoenaed him.
I thought the House went home because they didn't want to vote on Epstein.
Well, they didn't want to vote on requiring the Justice Department, calling the Justice Department up to release all the files. So passing a resolution on that. But
and of course, Maxwell said Trump wasn't anywhere in anything that Epstein did.
Yeah, she did. She said that the day before she was shipped out of the maximum
and then she went to the country club.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's some connection to that. Maybe there's some dots to be connected there.
Well, I mean, Trump is going to be in for 4 years, and she can probably last 4 more years and then get the pardon on the way out.
Boy, that pardon's going to be. I mean, I see where they're trying to make her look like she's a scapegoat or something.
No, she's a victim. She is a victim.
They're going to try to paint her, but I don't think that dog's going to hunt.
It doesn't. With people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who this week said she was really disappointed in the Republican Party. Mm. So I think
that's a good sign.
Well, I think she's looking for attention. She wants Trump to maybe say her name on television.
Yeah, that usually gets her off.
Yeah.
Keith, when we get together and we talk about the issues of the day and we look back to the last week and see all the things that have happened in a week, and it's astounding.
It is. It moves fast. And it's all about, right now, it's still about get rid of this Epstein. Let's go ahead and have a special prosecutor look at Jack Smith.
All right.
I mean, Jack Smith was regarded, he's a pretty clean fellow.
That's like Bugsy Malone investigating Mother Teresa.
I mean, exactly. And, he was like, Trump took some information home to his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago. Mm-hmm. And it just happened to be top secret. And he just happened to share it with, some rich guy from Australia or something, and it's like, and then they got the right judge. They got
our next Supreme Court nominee. You heard that first.
She will be the next Supreme Court nominee.
You heard that first on Porch Therapy.
If it's not her, it's the guy they just put in as an appellate judge, who I can't remember. Is it Bovine?
Something like that.
Something like that. But it's just so odd that every Republican in the House and the Senate are complicit. Lisa Murkowski whines a little bit, but she votes for it. And so we're going to see what happens in the election, but their elections are ways off. 2026, the 26th election, I don't know that we can make it to there. But if we do, and the Democrats don't regain the House, then we are all in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that is astounding that's happened this week since we met last is the president directing Texas to call a special session of the legislature to gerrymander congressional districts. That's incredible.
It is incredible.
I mean, and all it's going to do is start other states to do the same. I mean, it's more of Trump toxic chaos. I mean,
yeah, and they said, that I think it was New York, and I think you said this at the last podcast, that a lot of the blue states have set up commissions to try to take it out of politics.
Right.
To make it.
Only the blue states have done that.
Yeah, only blue. So, and some of them have changed their constitution. So they're going to have to go in and do a constitutional amendment. I think California has one, has a constitutional amendment to go back and say, basically, if a red state does it, then we can do it. If no red state does it, then we can't do it. We have to stick with it.
Isn't that progress? Isn't that moving in the right direction?
Yeah, it's really amazing. Every day it's a new crazy. And, the latest crazy, and I don't know if this is true, but I saw it on my Instagram, is that Trump was on the roof of the White House last week.
Yesterday.
Was he yesterday?
Yeah.
And he was scoping out an area to see where they could put a nuclear warhead on the White House roof. That's pretty bizarre. Then the next thing that's pretty bizarre, they don't like solar power, but they want to put a solar generator on the moon so that it'll be a launch pad to Mars. I don't know what the infatuation is about Mars, but they're going to go to the moon and put a solar generator. It's like, whoa, why not do that in America?
Yeah, why do you have to go into the...
Why do you go to the moon? It's funny. It's almost comical.
Well, yeah, it's almost comical.
Look,
it's not, it really isn't comical.
I mean,
hopefully in 4 years it'll be comical.
People have to vote. People have to get out there and vote and vote against this craziness. You want to vote for conservative Republican? Vote for conservative Republican. We don't have a conservative Republican Party.
Well, that's true, Keith.
The conservative Republicans are kind of bailing out.
Yeah.
Look at these podcasts where these people were very conservative and they just don't like what's happening right now.
Well, I've said this. I'm going to go ahead and repeat it because I think it's important. The heroes of today are Republicans.
Yeah, they could be.
Well, and the ones who stand up and have everything to lose. A Democrat doesn't have anything to lose by standing up and preaching against Trump.
No.
But the heroes of the day, the Liz Cheneys and the Pences and the Adam Kensingers and even to some extent our Senator Cassidy are really the heroes of the day. The guy, the Secretary of State and Governor of Georgia. They all have been, I admire them all. And I think Democrats should give them the type of respect and acknowledgement of them standing up for the Constitution and for the things that we all think are important.
You're right. But, what's happening right now in Louisiana politics is everybody's jumping in against Bill Cassidy.
Yeah.
Don't know who Trump is going to endorse, but there's a representative, I think it is from Lafayette, who was Little Mike's sweet mate. What do they call it in the legislature when they...
Seatmate?
Seatmate. Anyway, he's running against Cassidy, and he's ultra MAGA. And then, there's somebody else. I just saw a sign on the highway. Fleming. I hate to even call these names out, but he's running against Cassidy too. So there's going to be a whole bunch of people. Right now in Louisiana, they got rid of independent and they've gone to no party.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what happens with no party is you can actually pick an election, a primary you want to go with.
Oh, really?
That you can go with the Republican or the Democratic primary. I've been thinking of going to no party so I could vote in the Republican primary.
Mm-hmm.
One vote, I have a son who thinks that one vote doesn't matter. And it does, because I can tell you, my brother was elected mayor by one vote.
Mm-hmm.
So one vote matters in an election.
I won my first election with 28 votes.
There you go.
I mean, one vote can make all the difference in the world.
I had 125 votes, and it was a landslide.
At least in our circle.
Well, it's coming to the end of another podcast, and send this to your friends. If you ever listen to this, send it to your friends. Send it back to us. A Porch podcast at gmail.com. Send it in. If you have a question, we're glad to read it online and answer whatever it is. Edward?
Yeah, I just want to say that what his the impetus of why Keith and I are doing this is because we feel that this is so important to give talking points to people of our persuasion politically, but also to try and convince other people that maybe there's a need to take a second look at to where they are. The point being, this is a terribly trying time. The stakes are very high. So anything that you can do, whether it be to sign people up to vote, be sure and vote yourself, and talk to people, now's the time to do it like it's never been before.
Make sure your family votes, make sure your kids vote, and whoever you want to vote for, make sure you make the right vote. Goodbye, and we'll see you next week. That beautiful music is Zach Villere. Check him out on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your music.